Hi, I'm Mike from the Yetee, and we make video game merch. Some of our clients are Cuphead, Meat Boy. We do Games Done Quick twice a year, and right now we're fulfilling merch for the Kickstarter for Wonderful 101. The Yetee started as kind of it's a fluke. I was working a job that I was afraid would go away, and I went to school for design, and wanted to get back into that. So in Aurora here, I started doing pop-up art galleries, and most of the artists I would find either Twitter artists. Instagram wasn't even that big right back then, so I was gathering all these artists, local, and Glenn O'Neill from Vancouver, he followed the same artist that I was asking to be in the show, and he asked to be in the show. So we did a pop-up art gallery. It was like toy themed art, and then I did another one and another one, and selling the screen printed posters. So I'm a screen printer. Glenn and myself, we kind of like, hey, it's easier to sell t-shirts than posters. So we tried a t-shirt here, t-shirt there, and then we just we had all these different models we were going to go with. One of them was kind of like a Kickstarter for shirts, which eventually happened with another company with huge angel investments, which we never got. But yeah, we basically took all these different like web services that were around and kind of cobbled them together to make a website. So we had Big Cartel was our cart system. We had a front page that kind of linked these other. It would pay through PayPal. It was kind of like a DIY type website, and it worked. And at that time, we were outsourcing our t-shirts to local print shops and doing the 24 hours a day. That was our bottleneck. It was our customer service nightmare. It's because we couldn't control the print shops and the speed we were getting the shirts. So we saved all of our money that we made for the first 2 years until we could buy our own print shop. And that's kind of when we, our opportunities opened up. We could pretty much do what we wanted. Like, there are other t-shirt a day websites out there. We didn't start that. Me and Glenn, being artists ourselves, we were kind of trying to work from the artist side of things, and we had a really great group of artists, and we watched them mature and grow while we worked with them. And then they start going. They work at Disney, they work at Lego, they work at all these incredible places now. Like, it's almost like high school. Like, every few years you get a new roster of artists that we get to work with. That's where we're really fortunate, is always have good relationships with artists all over the world, and that's kind of been our backbone from the beginning. And as we kind of grew, we got those relationships with independent video game developers. Artists, they make the art, they're too busy to sell the merch. Video game, they're too busy making the games to sell the merch. So we kind of fill that void, and we are able to bring artist works, indie video games. Now we're into some of the AAA titles, so we've really just kind of grown with the market.
Do you feel like there's like a lot of power in art for screen printers? Like, is that something they should be investing in? I mean, is it, if you were going to talk to a new screen printer, would you say, hey, really focus on the art? Would you say, hey, really focus on like the printing, really focus on the business?
I think it depends what kind of business you want. If you want to have someone on staff that, we've all been there, where the person comes in, hey, I want this shirt, here's the art, it's JPEGs they stole off websites, and it just won't work. But if you have an artist there that can, make something, make it properly, set up for screen printing, because that's another issue. Nothing's ever set up for screen printing. You have to charge for your art time, because if you start giving it away for free, they'll take advantage of it and the customer. But as long as you have a good relationship from the beginning, letting the customer know, hey, your art isn't going to work, we need to recreate the art, here's our artist, and every step of the way get approvals, it's great. The hiring process here has been, I guess I kind of do everything they tell you not to do. They don't hire your friends. I've hired friends from college, and they're the greatest employees I have. Kevin, who works here, when you do a design with us, we send you some production samples, or just freebies. And I noticed he lived in Aurora, so I emailed them, hey, you want to come in and take a take a tour and meet. So he came in, and then I think our Games Done Quick, like, busy time came around, and I post, hey, I'm looking for people. He comes, I'm like, this is for, just helping fill orders. So he started there, and we always knew he kind of wanted to draw, or he was an artist. And we asked him, do you want to draw shirts and art for that? He's like, no, keep it separate. And then eventually he started doing like little promo Yetee drawings, and then he kind of decided he wanted to move over to the art side full time. And then we hired his friend Stacy, and then we find out that she's a fantastic photographer. So then she started taking our product shots, and that's when, everything started looking really nice on our website. And then she has an attention for detail, and then she kind of picked up on marketing, and so now she does photography and marketing for us.
But you do have the Games Done Quick rush periods too, right?
Yeah, that happens twice a year, which is right after the Christmas kind of rush. So our November to February is kind of a madhouse around here. They know when it's coming. We talk about it before. We'll print as many kind of designs that we know will sell really well. We try to print those ahead of time because we know we're going to get 20, 30,000 shirt orders. And then they kind of split off into two shifts. Because I was talking when we moved in here, we had room for another press, and they're like, don't spend the money on another press. Let's do two shifts. I'm like, all right, if you guys are comfortable with that, and then, save me a lot of money. So it was an artist that we worked with from the very beginning, Carrie Fry. She kind of got us involved with Games Done Quick, and it used to be very small, like in a hotel room, and it was just a couple people. So we kind of started very, very early in the kind of the now it's like a telethon, and it raises $3 million. So we were lucky just to be friends with Carrie, and she kind of introduced us to this organization and this world, and then we kind of grew with them, and it's been a great relationship. As they grew, they're kind of struggling with the amount of shirts they had on site, so now we send a full team just to hand out shirts. And we are able to sell some merch for people that didn't pre-order shirts, but it's a fun week, and we get to go out there and see, be on site, which is always amazing, especially when they hit the 2 million milestone. Everybody goes crazy.
You have this core business with the incredible art, the screen printing, Games Done Quick, the high volume, sort of the e-commerce printing too, but you also release a shirt every day, and it's $14.
Yeah.
Or mostly every day?
In the times where we're not doing a special event or a marathon, we have 2 shirts come out every day. It's like line pairing. We try to pair the designs to work with each other. Like, we have those rosters of artists. They come in, and that's kind of how they get their foot in the door. We see like designs coming through our submission process. These are really good. We'll like look at their like portfolio. We'll reach out like, hey, your stuff is really great. I hope you kind of can continue working with us, and they grow, and then when we have like an Ultraman opportunity, hey, we need some Ultraman designs. Do you think you can work up some sketches? And then we get those approved, and now we have like official Ultraman. The bigger the license, the slower the process.
Okay.
So when that's a thing we've learned with when we work with indie games, they're like, yeah, that's great, and we can make it. As the licenses grow, we get bigger opportunities. It's slower. It's a slower burn because there's more approvals, going down the line.
Is there anything about like running a business like this that keeps you up at night?
We have 20 employees now, so the bigger we get, the more stressful it gets. I used to have my my hands in everything, so I kind of knew everything that was going on. Now I have a lot of I rely on people, so that kind of keeps me up at night. That's a hard thing to do, but in the long run, if you don't delegate, you won't sleep, and you'll just crash and burn. So delegating was a big thing that I've been trying to do the last couple of years, and it's finding the right people. When you're selling direct to customer, there's no way you can kind of like force them to buy things. So if you're putting out product and nobody's selling it or nobody's buying it, it could create a lot of stress. So, and that's kind of why with our print shop, I wanted to kind of have a steady flow of contract work coming into on the side. So we're always the print shop's the press is always spinning, and I always have their paychecks there, just keeping busy, I guess.
If you had any advice for like a screen printer starting out now, what would you say?
Before you kind of go out there and get the speedball kit from Hobby Lobby, there's a book, what's it called? It's by Andy McDougall. I think it's Screenprinting Today. I'm embarrassed I don't know the name of it, but it's by Andy McDougall. It goes through everything. If you read that front to back, before you even make your mistakes, you'll kind of know how to fix them. I went to NIU. I learned screen printing. We made our own screens out of, 2x4s and stretched our own screens, and I don't even know how we got images onto paper. It was that kind of DIY. So by the time I got some real equipment, it was fantastic. But yeah, learn the process. Don't be stubborn if someone gives you advice. Get an exposure calculator. You'll burn 1,000 screens trying to get it right. Just get a calculator, you burn 4 screens, and then you can lock it in. I tell people, there's a Reddit screen printing, and that's just get an exposure calculator. They're like $30.
Is there anything you're really looking forward to, or were there any big wins in the last year?
Right now, it's that Kickstarter with Wonderful 101. It's for a game that was on Wii U that I don't think it had reached its full audience. So we got to be a part of it. We worked with Platinum Games. I'm going to say Glenn, my business partner. He worked with Platinum Games. I kind of just worried about everything. So we're making everything I like doing. Toys, records, t-shirts, merch. Kickstarters historically don't have a great reputation for getting out on time. But that's our goal, is to get everything out on time and, kind of show all these new customers what we can do here. We're a different kind of screen print shop. We're not the traditional come and take orders, here's your shirts. We print our own stuff for our own brand, and through screen printing, we started with the shirts. It allowed me kind of go back to the posters where I started, and then it just gave us so much opportunity to kind of create our own kind of fan base where we can work with these awesome games and make everything. We made vinyl toys, we've made over 50 vinyl records for soundtracks for video games. So it's really kind of my bucket list of making everything that I've always wanted to make. And I'm a maker. That's kind of, I always just want to put out really cool products, and I hope people enjoy them. And that's kind of what makes me happy is just making stuff and then seeing people tweet or Instagram pictures of it that they're stoked to get it, and it's really great. We're in a place where if we kind of keep on the same track with our ideals of making cool stuff with people, I think we'll be around for a couple more years.
Awesome.
And I just jinxed it. We're closing next week.
I don't think so. Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much.